Hello everybody, I hope you're doing well. Ben here, Vertigo, as some of you guys know me. Doing another video. We're on the ground here at Philadelphia now. It's going to be a pretty short flight from Philadelphia up to Boston. I have class pretty early tomorrow, but I did feel like flying and I did feel like recording, so we're going to be doing a shorter flight. We're here, we're flying for American Airlines in their new One World livery. Let me move the camera around. There we go. In their new One World livery. And, right, so we're going to be flying up to Boston. We're flying the 737-800 here at gate Alpha 3 on the ground at Philadelphia. You can see some snow between the runways. I don't know if it's actually snowed recently in Philadelphia, but it looks nice. Right, so we're arriving at gate Bravo 32 at Boston. Our flight number's 1490-1490, so call signs American 1490. We're just going up to flight level 230 today, not too high. Looks like I am on VATSIM. It does look like there is some control online for us here, just at Philadelphia, ground controller, so we should get clearance and taxi. I don't know if there's much more that needs to be said at this point. It's an early winter morning here in the simulator. It's about 7:30 a.m. local at Philadelphia. As you know, as always, rather, questions about visuals and so forth, you're welcome to ask in the comments. I have the tweaking videos if you're so inclined. That you're welcome to watch, and that should give you some good information about the visual effects in my simulator. And yeah, just a quick shameless self-plug here that I do every video. If you do social media and want to follow me, social media links are in the description. Just Twitter and Facebook. It's a way for people to stay engaged, and I post on there occasionally. And also there's a Twitch link if you like live streams. I do stream on Twitch as well. But with all that said, we can go ahead and get in the flight deck and get the show on the road. Alright guys, welcome into the flight deck. So, standard 737-800 cockpit that you've all seen before. The aircraft is fairly well on its way to being set up. The IRSs are aligning, the logo light's on, ground power's connected, battery emergency exit light are, the battery's on, emergency exit lights are armed. We have boarded. As you can see, the doors are closed, the jetway's pulled. Fuel is on board, 15.2 thousand pounds, and our passengers are on board as well, along with their belongings. Our payload is, well, rather, our zero fuel weight is 128.4, so about 128,000 pounds. So let's come up to the overhead panel. We'll get our passenger signs on. We can get the window heat on, and if I float over here, we can get the pressurization panel. We're going up to 230, and the landing altitude at Boston. Surveyed elevation is approximately 100 feet. So let's call for clearance, because I do believe ground's still online. Let me have a look to see if he is. He is 121.65. We'll tell him that we have the weather, and we'll be listening. We'll be cleared to Boston Logan. We'll be on the Philadelphia 9 departure. Radar vectors to ditch. Then as filed. Taking a look here at the departure, we'll climb via the SID. Top altitude's 5,000 feet. Departure will be 122.8, and we'll listen for a squawk. So let's give him a call, 121.65. And I apologize for just leaving the camera here on the pedestal. I should have moved that while I was looking at my other monitor. Okay, let's give him a call. Philadelphia ground, good evening. It's American 1490. We have the weather information on board IFR to Boston.
American 1490, clear Boston International Airport via radar vector stage, and is filed. Maintain 5,000, expect flight level 230, 10 minutes after departure. Departure's offline, squawk 3034.
Okay, we're cleared to Boston Logan. Radar vectors ditched and is filed. 5,000 initially, 230, 10 minutes after departure. Departure's offline and squawk 3034 for American 1490.
American 1490, read back is correct. Push and start at your discretion. Advise and ready for taxi. Expect runway. Expect runway 35 for departure. Philadelphia Mirror 3013.
Okay, sorry. We'll, pushback at our discretion, we'll call for taxi. Have the altimeter, and could we get, standby on the runway?
Yeah, you know, you can go ahead, expect 27 left. Give me a minute. That's just expecting. I'll give you, your final runway in a minute here.
Okay, great,
Let me
yeah.
just calculate one thing.
Thanks, yeah, we're gonna ask for 27, appreciate it. Okay, so, a little confusing there, but we got it all. Everything's as expected. We're gonna get the runway we want, I believe. We have 3034 here in the squawk. Departure is 122.8. Let's get straight into the FMS and get pre-filing, shall we? Or not pre-filing, what am I talking about? Pre-flighting, I'm a little tired.
Yeah, so American 1490, expect 27 left, just makes more sense since you're, exiting out of the ditch.
Okay, roger, 27 left, thanks, American 1490. Okay, so Philadelphia here is the airport GPS. We're going to use that to align the IRS, and Philadelphia to Boston. Runway is 27 left. Flight number is American 1490. Like so, and our routing, we get radar vectors to ditch. We go from ditch to join an airway, I believe. Let me have a look. Yep, we join the J225 to Kennedy, JFK. Then we join the Roebuck to arrival. The departure is the Philadelphia 1. Did I say Philadelphia 9 before? I meant the Philadelphia 1, apparently. And the arrival is the Roebuck. I'm expecting runway 27 for arrival. JFK and ILS 27. Activate and execute that, and we do have a good flight plan. We'll fly runway heading and then self-vector on the departure here to ditch. Zero fuel weight should autofill, which it does. Our reserve fuel is 5.7. Cost index can be 38. Flight level is 230. Our winds at cruise are, we can just do a quick approximation here, we'll call it 284 at 81. Outside air temperature up there is minus 28. Takeoff performance off 27 left. Do have that calculated with Top Cat, so it's going to be 37 on the assumed OAT with flaps 1. Center of gravity is 24.5%. V speeds, autofill V2 is 153. Okay, so the pre-flight's done. We'll set the parking brake. We will open the number 1 aft the number 1 aft fuel pump to start up the APU here. We can set the MCP, so V2 is 153. Initial heading off 27 left. Climb on heading assigned by ATC, then climbing left turn heading 240. Okay, that's off 27, right? I gotcha. So, well, it's going to be 5,000. We're going to climb on assigned heading. I think it would be a left-hand turn to get ourselves to ditch. So, let's make it on departure. We'll kind of fly like a 190 or a 180 heading on departure, something like that. That will work. We can get the flight directors on. Let's get traffic and data on the NDs and terrain as well. The right-hand side. So we get speed, heading, and altitude all bugged in. Flight directors are up. Pressure, we need to set the pressure. The altimeter here, it's 30 something. Let's just confirm what exactly it is. 3013 is now set. And we'll arm heading select at 400 feet above the ground and then get level change once we get climb thrust. APU's running. Transfer power to the APU gens. Yaw damper is coming on. And we'll go ahead and get rid of our ground connections at this point. Beautiful. I did set the parking brake. Yep. And we'll call over the ground crew for push and start. We're going to want our nose to the left and tail to the right. Hopefully they don't push us into the building. De-icing, no, we'll pass on the de-icing. We're going to want our nose left, tail right.
Due to icing conditions, please stand by for engine start until push completed and brakes set.
Oh, they want us to wait to start our engines until push is completed. I guess we can do that. Anti-collision light on. No, we'll just do it during... I don't see icing conditions, to be entirely honest. It's a relatively... Well, it's not a clear day, but it's not terribly... yeah, we'll ignore that for the sake of time.
Flight deck, this is Ground Crew. Stand by for pushback.
So fuel pumps are on, nothing in the center tanks. Anti-collision light is on. We'll set the transponder here to auto. And yeah, we're ready for push and start.
Locking gear.
Release the brakes when they're ready for us to do so.
Ground Crew departure check is complete.
There we go.
Nose gear steering disconnected for push. Release parking brakes.
Alright, brakes coming off.
Okay, here we go. All clear behind the aircraft. Safe to start engines at your discretion.
We're good to start.
Due to icing conditions, please stand by for engine start until push completed and brakes set.
Right, we're going to ignore that. Make an executive decision here, and we'll start number 2. Now let's see just how they push us back. I'd be curious to see. Are they going to take us out of the alley here? That would be interesting. Or out of the, yeah, out of the alley into the terminal. I guess we'll see. So we're looking for about, or sorry, undo an active taxiway. Looking for 25% N2. There it is, and we'll feed fuel into engine number 2 like so. Alright, number 2's coming up, N1 is rising, N2 is rising. Okay, yeah, they're actually doing this really well. Good job, GSX. Good start on number 2, and we'll start number 1. And same deal on engine number 1. We'll look for about 25% N2 or so. And then we'll feed in fuel. Alright, there's 24% and there's 25%, and the fuel is going into engine number 1. Good indications on number 1. GSX.
Set parking brakes, please.
It started better than it ended, the pushback, but we'll take it. Okay, brakes are set, and there goes the starter cutout. We got a good start on engine number 1. We'll transfer power to the engine gens, which means the APU can go as well as the APU bleed. Packs to auto, isolation valve to auto, electric hydraulics are on, probe heat is on. Start switches are continuous.
Unlocking gear.
Auto throttle is armed. Auto brake is RTO. Flaps are flaps 1 now. Our trim.
Nose wheel steering connected. Pins removed.
4.72 on the trim. 4.72 right around there. That will work. And these guys are out of the way now. We'll throw on the taxi light. So we've transferred power. The APU and the bleed is gone. The packs are taken care of. Hydraulics, isolation valve, probe heat, and start switches taken care of.
Behind the aircraft, left and right.
Taxi lights on, auto throttle armed, auto brake is RTO, flaps are set, trim is set. The only thing really to do at this point, I suppose, is check the flight controls. Transponder's also taken care of. Right, so let's check the flight controls, and then we are out of here. We'll call for taxi. So, full up on the elevator, full down, neutral, left, right, and neutral, and the rudder, left, and right, and neutral. There we go. So, let's give him a call for taxi. American 1490 has the weather ready for taxi.
American 1490, runway 27 left, taxi via Juliet, November 01, cross 27 right.
27 left via Juliet, November Sierra 1, cross 27 right, American 1490. Okay, there we go. Got our taxi. So, we will we'll release the brakes. We'll take a left out here. Pull open my ground chart so I know exactly where I'm going. Right, what am I looking at? Juliet. Let me figure out where I'm going here first, guys. Not to hold you up. We'll figure it out. Yeah, we'll figure it out. Okay. I don't want to waste any more of you guys' time. I will time lapse this so you can see the views, and I will bring you guys back as we're getting ready to take off.
American 1490, monitor Unicom 122.8, have a great flight.
Alright, we'll monitor 122.8. Thanks so much. So long, American 1490. Okay, so there's our handoff. We're ready to go. Weather radar's on, transponder set. Lights are now on. We'll pull in the retracts though. Apparently those create drag, which would make sense. And you don't want drag on takeoff. So everything on but the retracts, and we will start the clock. Like so. And off we go. 27 left, so throttle up about 40%. Keep that nose straight would help. Engines are stabilized. Takeoff. Takeoff power is set. Airspeed is alive. 80 knots. Thrust hold.
V1. V1. Rotate. V2.
Alright, positive climb. Gear up. .400 feet, heading select. Waiting for climb thrust now. We can put the gear off, auto brake off. There is climb thrust, level change, bug up speed to flaps 1 speed. Put in the autopilot at this point so I can get the plane cleaned up. We'll bug the altitude up to 230 since we are uncontrolled at this point. And we'll take flaps up and bug up to flaps up speed. Now if we zoom out here on the ND, we can see ditch is just off to the left there. So what I'll do is I'll climb on this heading till 5,000 feet and then I will proceed direct to ditch. So the gear is up and off, the auto brake is off, the flaps are retracted. Start switches are now off, and we'll get rid of the turn-offs in the taxi light. We'll get the fixed landing lights at 10,000 feet, and the aircraft at this point is pretty well cleaned up. Alright, there's 4,000 feet. That is good enough for me. So direct ditch, execute that in the city ute, and we'll go LNAV, we'll go VNAV. And that's us out of Philadelphia. Man, is that just gorgeous down there. That looks so nice. Wow. Damn. Alright guys, well, I won't waste your time anymore. I will check in as always prior to the descent to fill you in on what we're going to be doing. And as always, enjoy the views in the meantime. Hey guys, welcome back. So, haven't been up at cruise for too long at all, just about 13 minutes. And we're less than 80 miles from top of descent, so, right, it's a pretty short flight. Let's go ahead and brief the descent. I'm taking a look at the chart here. The MCP altitude is going to be 5,000 feet. Because we go down to a intersection called Hodku, where we're going to cross at 5,000 feet, and that is the last fix on the arrival, and then we are going to vector ourselves onto the approach. So 5,000 feet at Hodku on the MCP altitude. Our pressurization panel is already set. ILS frequency for 27 is 111.3. So there is 111.3, and we'll put this in both of the navigation radios. Alright, we got them in both, and the course off of that is 273. It's the course we're going to be shooting for the approach for the ILS 273, there we go. Auto brake, we got 7,000 feet of runway, so we're definitely going to need an auto brake of 2. That's not a ton of runway. And we are flying a 737-800, is not a particularly slow aircraft on approach. It kind of comes in fast and low, from what I understand, and that's how I fly it in the sim. So yeah, we'll have to get down quickly. Minimums are I think we have visual conditions, but in the event that it's a bit hazy, they are 460 on the barometric altimeter. Like so. Approach information, so we're going to shoot the approach to Hodku and then make a left-hand turn onto the ILS for runway 27. We're going to kind of turn base to final. Fuel on board 11.7, estimated fuel at Boston is 9.3. That's a difference of, what, about 2,500 pounds. So we'll call this 137.5 on our gross weight for arrival. Gives us flaps 30, landing speeds 145 plus 5 knots. It'll be 150 on approach. 50 miles till top of descent. As you can see, it's quite turbulent, pretty bumpy, so the passenger signs have stayed on. And that just about covers us. The only other thing worth doing is checking the weather. Let me check the weather at Boston, just to fill you guys in. Wind is 290 to 8. We have visual conditions, clear skies. Visibility is greater than 10 kilometers, 10 statute miles, I believe. Yeah, temperature is 3, dew point is -1, visibility 10 statute miles. There we go. How did I miss that? 10 statute miles. Altimeter 3002. Okay. And yeah, clear skies reporting, good visibility. So it should be a pretty straightforward approach. And we're prepped for the descent at this point. So again, enjoy the views on the way down. Hopefully it's not too bumpy. And I will bring you guys back when we're fairly close to touching down at Boston. Guys, so we're just descending through about 8,000 feet now. The aircraft is prepared to the extent that it needs to be. The pressure is set for the local setting in Boston, 3002, and our fixed landing lights are on. I'm going to go ahead and stow our spoilers. We did have those out because we were a little bit high, but we're back at a good altitude. We're on our vertical navigation path, so if I show you down here, we're tracking inbound to Kleb. We make a left-hand turn to Hodku, where we cross at 5,000 feet, and then we turn left to Final, and here's our runway. So we're going to be tracking in this direction down to Hodku, and then a left-hand kind of diagonal intercept course on to runway 27. We'll land here. So we'll stay level at 8,000 feet until we're over Kleb, and then altitude is already set to 5,000, and we'll descend down there to cross at Hodku. So here comes that left-hand turn. Still in this cloud here. Should break out soon, although clear skies being reported in the METAR might not be entirely accurate. I'm not sure how far that goes out. I guess so long as it's accurate for Boston specifically, then we're fine. Alright, so there we go. Descent will initiate. And we're, about 15 miles from Hodku. Facing a bit of a headwind now. We had a tailwind for the majority of the flight, but you can see we have a 31 knot left quartering headwind there. Still in this cloud. Might want to get some anti-ice on, actually. Let's get some engine anti-ice on board. Of course, we're gonna break out of it as soon as I do that, aren't we? Always seems to happen right when I turn on the anti-ice. We break out of the moisture. Okay, coming up on 7,000 feet. Hitting a deceleration point here. I believe we need to cross Hodku at 210 knots, 210. So we will decelerate here shortly. And if we need to use some spoiler, we will. Yep, there we go. Speed here is now indicating 210 knots on the PFD. It doesn't seem to want to be dropping though. We can take flaps 1 here fairly soon if we wanted to. Yeah, speed isn't exactly coming down for us, so okay, now we're out of that moisture. Oh, nice, and it's gorgeous. Engine anti-ice is going off. Very nice. And speed is still not coming down, so once we're 5 miles from Hotku, which we just about are, I'm going to start to take out some spoiler here. And once the speed drops to about 240, I'm going to take flaps 1. $1,000 to go for 5,000. Missed approach altitude off runway 27 is 3,000 feet, so we'll bug in 3,000 here. Speed's coming down nicely. Flaps 1, we're going to speed intervene here and keep it at 210 for the time being. Can get our engine start switches to continuous. And we'll fly a, let's make it a 300 heading here after Hotku. Right, and we can put the spoilers away at this point, I suppose. Right, less than a mile till Hotku. The field should be right around there somewhere. There we go. And heading select. Level change. And as we roll out here, we'll be about a little under 20 miles from the field. And we'll descend down to 3,000 here, but not any lower as we intercept. Is that fix called Loner? Yeah, it is. Loner, there's the fix off the ILS. Let's go ahead and take VS here, and we'll go 850 feet per minute. And once we're a bit closer to Loner here, let's go 5 degrees to the right. Once we're a bit closer to Loner, I will go ahead and drop the speed down to about 180, 190 knots. Go 750 feet per minute, in fact, seems to be fine. Still a ways off the ILS, so we'll keep the speed up here at 210. For now. Right, so the field should be out this way. Do we have a visual on it? I don't see it. Those are bridges. So we'll keep looking for the field. It's always good to have it in sight even though we do have the ILS. I want to think... No, those are bridges. Alright, well, we'll find it at some point. Right, so... yeah, still a ways from Loner. Once we drop the speed down to 180, I will take flaps 5 at that point. We did get the start switches already, just double checking here. And we do have a stiff, excuse me, 27 knot headwind, which is slowing us down and causing us to take our time here getting onto the localizer. That's the field, surely. Let me arm approach so we don't overshoot the localizer. Okay, glide slope and localizer are both, well, the glide slope is alive, standing by on the localizer. Let's go ahead, speed, we'll bug down to 180 and we'll take flaps 5. comes the localizer and the glide slope. Got the loc. And we got the glide slope. Gear down, spoilers armed, and flaps 15. Alright, let's see if I got the field now. Yeah, there it is. I don't know where our runway is exactly. Oh, there's our runway. Okay, looking right at it. Sweet. Okay, flaps 15 set. The spoilers are armed, the gear is down. There's the radio altimeter. We'll get the rest of our lights on. Alright, Mr. Approach altitude set. Lights are all on, gear down, spoilers armed. Start switch is continuous. Standing by in the landing flaps and our landing speed. We do have a 17 knot crosswind off the right hand side of the plane. So we'll be 150 on our landing speed. We'll bug down to 150 at this point. Speed's coming down very nicely, and flaps 30. Sweet. Yeah, and the wind is calming down here as we continue the approach. About 1,700 feet above, I'll let the plane fly it down a little bit longer, and then I will take control of it. Yeah, wind's now down to 8 knots. Very nice. And I believe it was reporting, if I check the METAR, the wind's reporting. Altimeter's now 3006. Let me adjust that. 3006, winds 290 at 7. Okay. Yeah, and that's just, that's sort of what we're getting. A bit more of a crosswind component, but not too severe. Alright, power's out. Or sorry, autopilot's out and throttle's out. Can get rid of the flight directors, we are visual, and I have control. That's checked. We are stable and continuing. Add a bit of power, just getting a bit low. We are visual though, slightly to the left of the center line. Just correcting there laterally a bit. Still fighting a slight crosswind, so we'll need a bit more crab.
Approaching minimums. Minimums.
We're stable and continuing there at our minimums. A little bit high there, 3 white, just reduce power and push the nose over. Back on slope. And we're down, bit of rudder. Hold the nose up. Some aerodynamic braking. $80 knots, we'll stow the reversers. And we'll keep on rolling here. There's 60 knots, we're now manually braking. And we'll make off to the right here. At, what taxiway is this? I can't tell with my ground chart. Can I tell with the signs here? I cannot. Right, anyway, let's get the aircraft cleaned up here. Lights, APU on, start switches, strobe, weather radar can go, clean up the NDs, stop the clock. That was a 52-minute flight. Auto brake, spoilers, flaps coming up. And transponder, we got. So I believe, yeah, the aircraft is cleaned up at this point. We'll taxi into Bravo 32, and I'll see you guys there. Alright, you guys, I hope you all enjoyed the video as always. Comments, questions, constructive feedback, all that good stuff is welcome. I love to hear you guys' thoughts. You all are what make this fun, right? Doing flight sim and then interacting with other people while doing it and after doing it is a lot more fun than doing this by yourself. That's for sure. So I appreciate your guys' interaction. That is big to me, and yeah, I want you to know that I don't take that for granted. At any rate, should be another video soon, but until then, everyone take care, and I'll see you then.